Good morning, everyone. We are from Group 8, LB66, Modern Theories of International Relations, want to explain our assignment paper about realism on Cuban Missile Crisis. The learning outcome for this exercise are apply theoretical framework to understand the actors and issues in contemporary international politics, and analyze the strengths and weakness of international relation theories in viewing real-world issues and problems.
Now I will explain to you about the background of our case study. The crisis was occurred in 1962 for 13 days that involves two superpowers country, Russia and the US. It began in Cuba when the US spy plane piloted by Air Major Rudolph Anderson, that was an American plane that was shot down while on a mission to spy on a ballistic missile that was located in Cuba. This aerial patrol was an action taken by the US as a result of an earlier patrol by Lieutenant Colonel Richard Hazer finding that several Soviet ballistic missiles have been installed in Cuba, which later discovered more ballistic missiles in the assignment of Rudolph Anderson. The death of him was one of the reasons for the delay in negotiation between the US and the Soviet Union. They finally agreed to recall the ballistic missiles in Cuba in exchange for the United States withdrawing their missiles in Turkey. And one of the reasons for the placing of ballistic missiles in Cuba is because the allied relationship between Cuba and Fidel Castro as its leader and the Soviet Union with Nikita Khrushchev. Fidel had an understanding in communists and was an also advantage for Soviet Union because of the area of Cuba.
In order to understand the conflict a little bit better, we could see it from the eyes of realism. Realists believe that in these states of anarchy, every countries in this international relations system are trying to defend themselves against a nuclear threat. Now, this is what happened in Cuban Missile Crisis. There is two superpowered countries at the time, which is United States and the Union Soviet. United States found a missile plantation in Cuba that apparently belongs to the Union Soviet. This of course threatened the safety of United States, which caused some sort of tension between both superpowered countries. There's a chain of reaction or events that at the time making the tension a little bit higher and higher, but in the end they reached an agreement. In the agreement, they agreed for both countries to dismantle their own missiles. For the Union Soviet, they have to dismantle the missiles in Cuba, and for the United States, they have to dismantle the missiles in Turkey. This, however, created some sort of win-win scenario between both countries because on one hand, United States are already planning to dismantle their own missiles anyway because they are planning to switch to a more effective and stronger weapon. For the Union Soviet, United States promised not to attack Cuba anymore, which means that they have somewhat achieved peace for Cuba at the time. This creates some sort of a situation which we call the nuclear peace, and this nuclear peace is what we believe to be the best outcome for the conflict at the time, because through this nuclear peace can be achieved even though there is some sort of looming threat behind everything with the existence of nuclear weapons.
Now, I will discuss the strengths and weaknesses of our paper, Cuban Missile Crisis. Our criticism of our paper on the theme of the Cuban Missile Crisis is that we see that the strength of our paper is that we have studied several things quite well, including in terms of the background and presentation of theory, which we use realism theory, which we already know is one of the popular theories, especially during the Cold War. And then discussing case studies of the Cuban Missile Crisis that occurred after the Cold War feels much easier and related. In this regard, we have also presented figures related to this case so that we hope that it will add to the knowledge contained in this paper. Meanwhile, among others shortcomings, we feel that we are still lacking in depth discussing the definition and relationship between case studies and the theory applied in this case study. Thank you.
Hi everyone. So after watching some of our explanation about the Cuban Missile Crisis, why do you think that the Soviet Union chose to place their missile in Cuba, and how did they resolve their crisis, and what are the impact? We think that the Soviet Union chose to place their missile in Cuba because they are an ally and because Cuba is a strategic place for the missile. However, the missile itself is only a self-defense form against United States missile located in West Europe. Fortunately, the crisis ended with a peaceful agreement between the both sides. As for the impact itself, both sides agreed to dismantle their missile. So the Soviet Union chose to dismantle their missile in Cuba, and the United States dismantled their missile in Turkey, and they pledged that they won't invade Cuba. What do you think?
These are the references that we use for our paper. Thank you very much.